This is the Barry Richards Show. WBSM On Demand.
Without further ado,
WBSM presents The Barry Richards Show. Streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Text us using App Chat on the WBSM app. Now, The Barry Richards Show.
I'll keep working my way back to you, babe, with a burning love inside. Yeah, I'm working my way back to you, babe, and the happiness at times I'm headed away.
Been paying every day.
You were so in love.
All right, welcome to the program. 2 sunny days in a row. This is, I don't know, is it some sort of a record? Certainly is welcome. It feels cool out there. It's only in the low 60s, mid 60s right now, and there's a breeze coming in off the water. So you might want to wear a light sweatshirt. That's just my choice. I was out for my little walk before I came on the air, and I got a long sleeve T-shirt on, and it was a little bit chilly. It was. Yeah, a little bit cool, but it's going to warm up. They keep saying tomorrow is going to be warmer than today, so that's good news, right? All right, Memorial Day weekend coming up too, so that's a good thing this weekend. And hopefully you've got some plans and get outdoors or whatever. A lot of things happening here. There is an advisory from Boston police. If you've got business in Boston this afternoon, forget about it. Because Crooked Joe is going to be in town this afternoon in Boston. And the Boston Herald is reporting on its website that Biden's visit is going to be felt around the city. Boston police warning of major traffic delays along his route. And also a pro-Palestine rally against his planned visit, which will occur in downtown Boston this afternoon. So it is going to be crazy, crazy, crazy. If you've got business in Boston today, you got to get to the airport. Good luck. If you pick today to fly out to go to Disney with the kids, good luck with all of that because it's going to be nuts in Boston. Biden is scheduled to fly into Boston and attend 2 campaign receptions in the city following a stop to deliver remarks at an event in Nashua, New Hampshire. Boston police posted traffic advisories related to the visit for Logan Airport, the Back Bay, and the Seaport District from noon until 8 p.m. Genocide Joe is coming to Boston, wrote Boston Party for Socialism and Liberation, PSL, in an Instagram post today. The Boston PSL and Boston Coalition for Palestine posted calls for demonstrators to gather at South Station at 3:30 this afternoon in protest of Biden's visit. So again, Boston police warning anybody with business in Beantown this afternoon into tonight, expect some massive delays. Trump's defense team rested its case today without calling Trump to testify. That was not expected to happen. Anyway, I mean, why would you put Trump on the stand? You don't need to. Court resumes at 2:15 this afternoon, and the judge and the defense and prosecution teams will discuss the charges and instructions that will be given to the jury. The jury was dismissed until next Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. Judge Merchan anticipates giving jury instructions about an hour long. He expects summations to take at least a day. Merchan said he likes a jury to hear both at the same time. He then likes to give the jury charge, and then jury deliberations begin. Merchan said he likes the jury to hear both sides' closing arguments at the same time. He then likes to give the jury charge and then send the jury out. So we should see deliberations begin by the 29th, which is a week from tomorrow. Now, there is some thought that there could be a decision today. I haven't heard that it's come out yet on a defense motion to dismiss the case altogether. Yeah, there was a motion filed at the end of business yesterday by attorney Todd Blanche asking for an immediate order of dismissal, saying there's no evidence that the filings or business records at the center of the case were falsified, and there's absolutely no false business filings. So I haven't heard whether a merchant has ruled on that. I don't suspect he's going to dismiss anything. He's enjoying the spotlight, and we'll continue to keep this kangaroo circus going for another week or so, right? Interesting comments from a lot of interesting comments from a lot of people, but I'll find it later. Jim Carville, the Democrat operative, strategist, whatever you want to call him, whatever title the media assigns to him. People get certain titles that the media gives them, and then every time you see them on TV, it's written on the screen underneath their face. Democrat operative, Democrat strategist. We used to see, I don't know, all of these kind of expert, all of these things. But in any event, Carville thinks there's only a 50-50 chance there's going to be a debate between Biden and Trump. He thinks Trump's not going to show up. If I can find the details. He was on one of the shows last night. I don't know, MSNBC or whatever. Meanwhile, the White House is refusing to confirm or deny whether President Biden intends to use performance-enhancing drugs in preparation for the debates. As you know, there have been two debates agreed to, one in June and one in September. Biden, he's looked pretty jacked up at times, and there's no question about it. I mean, during the State of the Union, when he was out there screaming at the top of his lungs, remember? He gets kind of fired up for an old man that time of night. I mean, he walks around droopy-eyed and tripping over his own 2 feet and can barely complete a sentence and mumbles and everything during the daytime. And then he gets out there at nighttime when he should be sleeping, and he's yelling and screaming, and he's all wound up. So some folks have speculated they got him juiced up on something. So Trump believes that that Biden should receive a drug test before the debates. I don't want him coming in like the State of the Union, Trump told Republicans during a speech in Minnesota on Friday. He was high as a kite. I said, is that Joe up there? That beautiful room? And by the end of the evening, he's like, Trump made a guttural sound. He was exhausted, right? No, we're going to demand a drug test. Pardon me while I... He can't talk, he can't walk, can't find his way off a stage, can't put two sentences together, Trump added, although he has agreed to debate. So I don't know. Maybe they know something. It's going to be so jacked up for those debates, you watch. White House did not confirm and deny Biden's potential drug use. In its full response, it says as follows: it's telling that Republican officials are unable to stop announcing how intimidated they remain by the president's State of the Union performance. But after losing every public and private negotiation with President Biden, and after seeing him succeed where they failed across the board, ranging from actually rebuilding America's infrastructure to actually reducing violent crime to actually outcompeting China, it tracks that those same Republican officials mistake confidence for a drug. What book have they read? Gee, where did they get that record from? I don't know. It must be the same place they got inflation was 9% when Biden took over. I'm not sure. Ron Klain, Biden's former chief of staff, who is helping Biden prepare for the debates, did not respond to requests for comment about whether any illegal substances are part of Klain's debate prep. What do you think? Do you think that Biden was juiced up on something? I mean, you know, there have been several times that we've seen him out there. We all see him in the news. and online and YouTube and everything, what he looks like when he's out there during the course of the afternoon. And then to come out at night and be that pumped up, I don't know, something just isn't right. I don't know, maybe they're feeding him dunk all afternoon and getting him up to that level. Biden delivering a speech yesterday with a gaffe in which he falsely claimed that an American hostage being held by Hamas is now safe. The president issued his gaffe during a celebration of Jewish heritage at the White House, wherein he acknowledged Hirsch Goldberg Paulin as being, quote, here with us today, even though he remains held by Hamas. My administration is working around the clock to free the remaining hostages, just as we have freed hostages already. And here with us today is Hirsch Goldberg Paulin, Biden said during the Rose Garden celebration. The president immediately corrected himself, saying he's not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas. The New York Post noted dual Israeli citizen Goldberg Paulin is among the 5 known Americans still held by Hamas terrorists after being kidnapped from southern Israel on October 7th. He's 23 years old. He had one of his hands amputated. Did you know that? The hostage had Paulin, he's 23 years old, had one of his hands amputated following his abduction as a result of injuries suffered during the attacks. It killed about 1,200 people, including at least 33 Americans. Another gaffe on Sunday. Biden claimed he was vice president during the pandemic. Remember during Hur's questioning of him during the investigation, Filegate, when Biden had to ask, was I still vice president then? Well, he thought he was vice president during the pandemic. And Sunday, actually, during an NAACP dinner in Detroit, Biden said he was vice president during the pandemic and that President Barack Obama sent him to Detroit to, quote, help fix it. And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Biden left the vice presidency in January of 2017, more than 3 years before the pandemic. Mike Pence was actually vice president at the time. Yeah, I talk about our young 23-year-old American citizen, one of several being held, one of 5 that we know of being held hostage still by Hamas. What I said, 33 Americans. 33 Americans were killed during the October 7th massacre, terrorist attack by the Iran-backed Hamas terrorist organization. As you've heard by now, I'm sure the president of Iran, several other government officials were killed in a helicopter crash over the weekend. President Ibrahim Raisi, or Raisi. I don't know how to pronounce these damn names. I don't know. Whatever happened to Smith and Jones and so many different kind of pronunciations. Ibrahim Raisi. I don't hear these names pronounced because I don't watch TV, so I read them and they don't give you pronunciation assistance when you read. But anyway, so a number of House Republicans are banging the Biden administration for expressing condolences for Raisi's death. You may recall Raisi, referred to as the butcher of Tehran. It is absurd that the Biden administration touted their support for human rights while in the same breath offering official condolences for the butcher of Tehran. Clearly, the Democrat Party of today has become the pro-terrorist party. That from House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, Republican from Minnesota. House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik of New York called the State Department's message unacceptable, unnecessary, and outrageous. Biden's State Department expressing condolences for the death of a brutal and monstrous enemy of America who tortured and killed his own people and led the charge to fund terrorist proxies around the world that have killed American soldiers is a new low for Joe Biden, Stefanik wrote in a statement this morning on social media. Secretary Blinken's weak leadership and eagerness to appease the hostile Iranian regime reflects Biden's policy of rolling over for our nation's adversaries. State Department did release a brief statement upon news of Raisi's death over the weekend that says, and I quote, "The United States expresses its official condolences for the death of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, the Foreign Minister Amir Abdollahian, I don't know that, and other members of their delegation in a helicopter crash in northwest Iran. As Iran selects a new president, we reaffirm our support for the Iranian people and the struggle for human rights and fundamental freedoms." Can you imagine that? The State Department putting out a statement such as that, offering condolences for the death of Iran's president? The Deputy United States Ambassador to the UN, Robert Wood, actually stood for a moment of silence on Monday in the UN. I mean, Iran-backed terrorist groups in Iraq and Iran have targeted U.S. troops in the region, killing 3 and wounding scores more, some very seriously. The Iran-backed Houthis have been targeting U.S. military and international commercial ships in the Red Sea. Again, the Iran-backed Hamas terrorists killing 33 Americans on October 7th and taking 5 more hostage. Some are also condemning the United Nations for holding the moment of silence even in the first place. Raisi was known as the butcher of Tehran for a reason. He was an evil tyrant who persecuted and killed thousands of innocent Iranians and was a protege of the Ayatollah himself, said Representative Byron Donalds, a Republican from Florida, on X this morning. The United States should not be sending condolences. The world is a safer place without him. Representative Mike Waltz, also a Republican from Florida, called on the Biden administration to publicly denounce Iran's regime in place of offering condolences, in addition to backing Iranian resistance fighters and returning to the Trump administration's campaign of maximum pressure. State Department spokesman Matt Miller defended the U.S. position when confronted about the controversy during a press conference late yesterday. "We have been quite clear that Raisi was a brutal participant in the repression of the Iranian people for nearly 4 decades, Miller said. That said, we regret any loss of life. We don't want to see anyone die in a helicopter crash. There were over 150 last count. The media stopped counting them. I mean, there was a while there. Remember not that long ago when missile strikes on American positions in Syria and in Iraq. I mean, it was daily. Just this year. Where last I heard, there were at least 150 American soldiers, American service people that were injured. Some seriously, some receiving serious brain injuries and the like. And some were even killed. Did I say 3 were dead? Might have been more than 3, but could be 3. And our State Department is issuing condolences to the man who ordered that? Can you even freaking believe that? Where we are in our country right now? Can you believe that? By the way, Iran has actually asked us for assistance in trying to get the helicopter. Can you believe that? Iran has asked us for assistance, and we've denied it. We've denied their request. During that same press conference on Monday, Matthew Miller said the U.S. was asked for assistance by the Iranian government. We did make clear to them that we would offer assistance as we would do in response to any request by a foreign government in this sort of situation. And ultimately, we were not able to provide that assistance. Pressed for more information about Tehran's request, Miller declined to get into details. We said that we would be willing to assist. It's something that we would do with respect to any government in this situation. Ultimately, largely for logistical reasons, we were not able to provide that assistance, he reiterated. 508-996-0500. Let's grab a couple of calls. You're first this hour on WBSM. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Barry.
Hey, how are you?
Good. A little breezy out there today.
A little bit breezier than I expected, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can help me out. Well, first of all, I just want to say about the, you were talking about maybe the President Biden there is getting all jacked up on drugs.
Well, that's the, that's the accusation from Trump. Trump says this guy's jacked up on something. And I mean, you look at the performance on the State of the Union address, and you got to wonder, I mean, this guy's walking around droopy drawers all day long, and all of a sudden he's up there at night turning cartwheels and yelling and screaming. So, I mean, I guess one can see where somebody might figure that he's on something, right?
Yes, I had the same reaction when I heard him speak holler, and sometimes he hollers, starts raising his voice like a crazy man. Maybe someone can tell us out there, I don't take any kind of drugs and never did, but what comes to my mind is steroids. Maybe someone knows something about that, because some of the athletes take it, and it seems like it pumps them up,
Yeah, there's so many of these things that are out there now. I mean, from drinks to pills to shots to everything out there that's available that could be responsible for this. And I find it interesting that the White House would not just flatly deny and say no. The president wasn't on any kind of drugs, and he's not going to be for the debate. But Trump is calling for a drug test, and I think that's a reasonable request.
Oh, I do too. I want to know if my president is on something that's running the country. If he can't pass the P test, I want to know.
Yeah.
I certainly want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one more thing, I don't know if you caught it. President Biden was making some kind of a speech on an all-black college on their graduation.
Morehouse College, yeah.
And, yeah, maybe you can help me out. I don't know what he meant by that. He's supposed to be he says he's a uniter, but he said to the audience, to the black people in the audience, that Americans don't like you.
Right.
Well, they're Americans. What does he mean by that?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. And the speech is roundly being criticized by leaders in the black community. I've seen a number of black folks that were interviewed by the media, and even liberal media people like Bill Maher have criticized the speech as being so outdated and so divisive and intended to try to pander to people. But I mean, your point is well taken. I hadn't thought about that, and I have. I read the speech, and I read some of the quotes on the air yesterday, and in that particular part of it, I read it, and it didn't even sink in. Americans don't like you. Well, what are you folks then if you're not Americans, right? I mean, aren't you Americans? Aren't you part of the American society?
Well, it sounds so racist.
It is racist, yeah. I mean, this is even with the stuff that he said on Sunday in this speech was worse than that statement that he gave about on the radio 4 years ago when he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. He actually stated here, you started college just as George Floyd was murdered. And there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if the democracy you hear about actually works for you. And he said, what is democracy if black men are being killed in the street? What is democracy with a trail of broken promises leaving black communities behind? What is democracy if you have been or you have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot? Most of all, what does it mean, as you've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure? So, yeah, he's saying that, black men love America, but America don't love them back equally.
Yeah, you can't believe what's coming out of that guy's mouth. Boy, if that's not encouraging civil rights in the country, I don't know what's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, here the president of the United States is telling these people, these black people at this college, America doesn't love you. America doesn't love you. And, so go forward with that. Some of the remarks that I heard from some of the black people that I saw interviewed on television indicated, that they're tired of being treated like victims and the victim mentality, being told that you are a victim, and you got to go forward with this whole attitude that you are a victim and you're never going to succeed unless society does everything for you. And but Biden is putting it right back on them by saying, you love America, you do everything you can to love America, but America doesn't love you back equally. So, I think that's a very negative, dark message, and it was obviously pandering, and it was political in nature to try to get try to win back a constituency that he's losing. He's hemorrhaging.
Yeah. Well, it just struck me very funny because when he said that, Americans don't love you, I said, well, who's he talking to? These people are Americans.
Yeah, exactly. No, your point is excellent and well taken. I hadn't even looked at it that way, but you're absolutely right. Thank you, my friend. I got to hold you right there. I got to get a break, and we're going to come right back after this. Stay tuned. Yeah. And welcome back. It is 12:46 on a Tuesday afternoon. 508-996-0500 is our phone number. So the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Texas has appointed a monitor to monitor patient care at the Steward Healthcare facilities in Massachusetts and report immediately to the court if she determines that the quality of care is in any way declining significantly or is otherwise being materially compromised. Senior living facility owner and healthcare manager consultant has been appointed through the U.S. Bankruptcy Court to monitor patient care at Steward Healthcare facilities here in Massachusetts and the rest of the states where they have facilities as well. This as the system goes through its bankruptcy restructuring. The monitor is Suzanne Koenig. She's president and co-founder of SAK Management Services and provides a highly specialized combination of skills in the area of operations improvement, staff development, and quality assurance, according to her website. She was appointed by Kevin Epstein, the U.S. trustee for the Southern District of Texas, to serve as ombudsman, monitoring Stewart's hospitals and healthcare facilities in Massachusetts, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Miami-Dade County in Florida. The Department of Public Health here in Massachusetts has had monitors closely watching for staffing, capacity, or other issues at Stewart's Hospital since the system's financial situation attracted attention earlier this year. Since Stewart filed for bankruptcy in Texas on May 6th, Governor Maura Healey and others have sought to make clear that the legal proceeding does not necessarily mean that anything has changed for patients, urging people to keep their appointments at Stewart facilities and encouraging residents to seek emergency care at Stewart hospitals without reservation. Based on the findings of the department's monitoring, it has become clear that Stewart's fiscal challenges have already presented patient safety and health challenges, which to date have been isolated, and Department of Public Health has been able to detect and remediate quickly. These challenges include maintaining the physical premises, fire safety equipment, and et cetera, as well as critical supplies and equipment. DPH Commissioner Robbie Goldstein wrote in a filing in the bankruptcy case. For the most part, the cause of any issue, the monitors have identified as lack of funding made available to the hospitals from the steward corporate level. So I suppose the lesson from what I just read to you is if you experience any changes in the quality of service or whatever with any steward facility that you may be involved in, and that, of course, would include the Hawthorne Medical out in Dartmouth, you should notify the Department of Public Health immediately and let them know. They have monitors, just like the same monitors that were monitoring the migrant shelters to make sure that everything was okay there. And we find out through the Boston Globe that there are sex offenders in these shelters where migrant kids are being housed, right? Sex offenders. We don't know yet if the sex offenders have been removed yet. State said, we're working on it. Apparently, we talked about this yesterday. Apparently, there was vetting, supposedly vetting, that these motels and places that were used for shelters and that are being used for shelters were supposed to vet. And apparently they turned up sex offenders working at some of these places or staying at some of these places. And they said, we're working on getting them out of there. But in the meantime, let's put the kids in here. We're talking about child sex offenders, by the way. People have already done time or been charged with crimes against children, sex crimes against children. So we put the kids in there. We never learn from our mistakes in Massachusetts, do we? We just continue to repeat the same old mistakes over and over and over again. It's how we rock here. It's how we roll, right? It's unbelievable stuff. All right, 508-996-0500. Got a whole bunch of stuff about economics here. A good article in the newspaper today from Frank Mulligan about the Board of Assessors going after businesses again with fines this year for not disclosing how much they make in order to allow the assessors to set their tax rates. We'll get into that and a whole lot of other stuff as well. Let's take a break, though. If you're looking for 3 cash offers on your home at a great price without the traditional hassle that you go through of trying to sell your home, you want to contact my friend Nathan Clark, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. They guarantee multiple cash offers at your price, or Nathan Clark will pay you the difference. This is the easiest, best way to sell your home. No need to list it for sale. No need for those horrible 3-hour open houses. No showings, no inspections. You sell the house as it is, and you can move when you want to move. It's as simple as that. And I've seen this happen, by the way. I've seen it. Nathan showed me how this works, and it's amazing. You can choose your own closing date. Did I mention that? And you can decide when you want to move. You can get your money and move on. For the number one best way to sell your home is special to you, but you want to sell it and you want to move it quickly. You want to call or text Nathan Clark with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Call them today, 401-200-3042, and you will get multiple cash offers literally in minutes on your home. And it'll be at your price, or Nathan will pay you the difference. Call or text 401-200-3042 and start packing today. All right, let me conclude this portion of our program with a break, and then we're going to come right back after this. Stay with us. 508-996-05. Last year, because they did not provide assessors with information. And they're going to send out those fines again this year. The assessors want information on income-generating properties, including the amount of income and expenses, in order to base your tax bill. And this is something that is allowed by the Department of Revenue in Massachusetts. It's only the second time the city of New Bedford has done this. City Council is opposed to it, and there are those who believe this is unfair to do. And so we'll mention that a little bit, get into that. Also, we've got an update. You know the surtax that you voted for there, the so-called millionaire's tax? Where do you find out how much money that has actually collected? it is startling how much money it is collected, to the point where the politicians don't even know what to do with all of the money. But, my suggestion to them might be to hold on to it, because I think that the enactment of the millionaires tax has driven a lot of folks who might be considered millionaires out of Massachusetts. So I'm not sure you're going to get that same amount next year. And because I don't think illegal immigrants are going to be covered by this surtax, and they're replacing the people with the so-called millions that are moving out of here, and businesses that are taking their businesses elsewhere to states that are more business-friendly than Massachusetts. New report that was on the State House News Service this morning. It was a national study indicating that Massachusetts and the Northeast in general have the highest electric and utility rates in the entire country. Now, that's something I've been telling you about for a long, long time, and it just backs it up. Gasoline prices a little bit lower in Massachusetts, but the highest electric rates in the entire country, and I've heard some people suggest maybe even in the world as well. So we've got a whole lot of stuff to talk about this afternoon. Stick around. The news is coming up next. We'll check that weather forecast for you, see when it's finally going to get real